Hey everybody, Captain-Save-aBro here. I'm bringing you a brand new video, and this is just going to be me talking about patch 1.4, my opinions on it, and what I think. So let's get into it. Alright, I think patch 1.4 was what the division needed. I believe it was a breath of fresh life into the game, and it changed so much. So all the changes they made, it made the experience better. It made playing the game better. It made it worth coming back to and trying. And I see a lot of people on the fence about on both things. A lot of people love the game or love the change, and some people just don't like it. Some people want to give up on the division now, and everyone's entitled to their own opinions. Everyone whatever you feel is how you feel, and you can't be. There is no wrong answer about it, I guess. But this is just going to be about what I think. So I believe that it was perfect. The change was perfect. I believe there could have been more, but like more changes that'll come along the way. But I believe that what they've done so far, it made the division worth coming back and playing it. It made it worth trying out. It made it worth, you know, just getting back into it instead of just straight up, not downplaying it, but just instead of just giving up on it and turning your back and just saying, yeah, it's dead. There's no point. There is a point now. The game is definitely worth coming back to playing. So I believe that with the changes that you could do, there's a lot more builds you can make now. Like with because there's so much more gear that drops. You get loot from everything. Little red NPCs, purple guys. Everyone could drop you gear, gold gear, or like high-end gear or legendary sets, gear sets. And it's perfect because now that gives you a chance to diversify between builds for certain situations, or like make straight up PvP builds where you want to run through certain incursions, or just challenge missions. Like there's just a lot more now. You don't have to go with the old, just straight up DPS, or some tanky character who just constantly cycles through skills. Now you could try everything out. Everything's pretty much viable to go through. I think the world tier system that they implemented is pretty good. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and 4. I believe that'll be perfect for people who are running solo and trying to gear up. It no longer just throws you into it doesn't just throw you into the jungle and expects you to survive. Now you could gear up and make the best build possible in your certain tier before you level up. I mean, before you change tiers and you go higher to get better gear. Because in Tier 1 you'll get 163 gear, Tier 2 you get 182, Tier 3 is 204, and then Tier 4 is obviously 229. Everything 229 drops. And in Tier 3 you actually unlock the Challenger mode and the incursions. So that's a good thing. Also, what I like about what the patch 1.4 is now that like incursions are doable now. You no longer have to just get a super good coordinated team to run through challenge incursions or heroics. Now it's much more doable. It's much more enjoyable. You can actually have fun playing. It's no longer it's not just stress. It's not just stressed and getting mad because things aren't working out perfectly, or people don't know what they're doing, or now it's just much more fun. The experience is much more better, and I think that's perfect. I love the fact that like all the loot that drops for the people who couldn't run different builds, the people who had trouble gearing up, now you won't. Now it's so much easier. They got field caches, field proficiency caches. So when like all your experience goes towards something now, it's not just dead experience, or it's not just something that's wasted. Like all the experience you get now goes towards field proficiency cache, which you could open, which also drops you 229 stuff, high ends or gear sets. So they're just making it easier for you to play the game, easier for you to test different builds and find what works for you and what doesn't. And I also want to stress out that patch 1.4 it wasn't anything to do with PvP. They didn't make it to where the Dark Zone was better. They didn't touch anything on PvP with this patch. It was just PvE and the mechanics of the game to make the experience of playing the PvE content much better. Instead of just being one shot by shotgunners or just torn through by heavies in a moment. So patch 1.4 was just strictly to fix the game, to fix the mechanics, and I feel like a lot of people don't understand that, I guess, or they just I don't know, not understand it, but they just they don't like how PvP works, and because I feel like people are still getting angry that they're getting one shot. The people who used to one shot that can't one shot no more are angry because their build, maybe they feel like their build's worthless or something. But personally, for me, I enjoy it because I've tried like 4 or 5 different builds now that I've never done before. Before in patch 1.3, all I ever ran was a Sentry's gear set, or before Sentry's it was Lone Star, and whatever helped me push out enough damage to eat through NPCs through the game was what I wanted to wear, and then also was effective against PvP players in the Dark Zone because I didn't want to get shredded. But it was always about DPS, it was never about just trying the different abilities or trying different uh, talents you get for gear sets when you match them together. Like I never experimented, and now that with this change and with all the loot you can get, now I'm experimenting. Now I'm trying all these different builds and seeing what it's like, and I'm really enjoying myself. You can really get creative with this game if you want. You could really switch things up and just go for different things. I'm happy. I'm happy the way it is because it's no longer like just straight one shot. It's not the one shot meta where you drop people with the shotgun in one tap. It's not the tank meta where you could run around and you could tank a whole group's shots and all you got to do is run around and wait for a sticky bomb to come back or something and drop them. There's no longer that. It's much diverse, much deeper, much better. And I feel like all people need to do is experiment a little, try things out. Don't worry about being literally the most strongest DPS character because it's not what it's about anymore. It's not about just pushing out maximum damage and not worrying about anything else because unless you're solo maybe, then that would work. But I feel like if you're like for team-based stuff or even if you're matchmaking, you're gonna want a character that kind of complements the team. Like you still want to be able to be strong on your own, but you want to be able to complement your teammates when you're trying to run such things as incursions and stuff because it helps out overall. It's beneficial to everybody as opposed to just your own self. I also enjoy the fact that with that you get more loot. They added named NPCs into the open world area, into like Manhattan, not just the Dark Zone. They basically made the whole city outside of the Dark Zone a PvE Dark Zone for people, where you can just run around and collect loot, and you ain't got to worry about getting ganked or extracting it. Basis where people come run, see where you are, and take it. Like there's no worrying about that anymore. I mean, in the outside, like in the Dark Zone, obviously there's still that, but the outside area is just a big Dark Zone area for everybody else who didn't want that PvP experience. With the loot, like getting more loot, they added 40 new HVTs. Like there's so much more things you could do now. It's no longer strictly based on you got to get a team together who's of good players so you could run this like higher HVTs or incursions or anything like that. Now these things are doable with anybody, with almost everybody, as long as like they got a general idea of what they're doing. Like if you ran into an incursion with 4 people who didn't know how to run it or didn't know what they were doing, obviously maybe they would struggle and have a hard time. But if you have a general idea of what's happening, how to keep yourself alive, like you'll do fine. You'll do fine, as you can see here. Like I'm with in this video you're watching here, I'm with a matchmade group, just a bunch of randoms I ended up getting into this incursion with, and as long as people know what they're doing, you could stay up, you could run through the incursion, you won't just drop. But what I'm trying to get, like the point I'm trying to get at is, because I'm just going off down a rambling tangent, is that the content is doable. You're not strictly, you're no longer, what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, you're no longer stuck as a solo person just doing a couple of easier HVTs or just the hard missions, or just maybe not even challenging, just the hard missions. And like now, everything is doable, and that should be that should. There may be no new content with patch 1.4, but they also said that like they weren't gonna release content. This was to fix the game, but for people who don't like the fact that there's not new content, I feel like in the sense that there is new content. Like for me, because I was never able to run through incursions with match-made teams. I was never able to do challenge or heroic because people just like it was too hard. The NPCs would just literally drop, and like it didn't matter how tanky you were. It didn't matter how much DPS you put out. Like they were just too hard for uncoordinated people or for a match-made team of people who weren't friends and didn't run it all the time and didn't have good communication. It was just an impossibility. And now the fact that it is doable, that you can run with just match-made people, I feel like it's opened up like a whole, not a whole new world, but it just feels like new content to me, because now I could do these incursions. Now I could do these challenging things I wasn't able to do anymore. Now I could run HVT solo, or I could just do so much more. That the game is no longer just locked into a certain section of I can only do these because I don't have a coordinated team. With the matchmaking as well, when you are matchmaking, if you are a solo player or you're just looking for a team to run through because your friends ain't on, like matchmaking now, it'll find if your group privacy allows it, it'll attempt to fill any empty spots left there for you. Excuse me. So it's not going to be so hard to find people, or you're not going to have to constantly sit there and open up your map and open up the menu to matchmake. Like the game will do it for you. If for people I've had this problem several times, but for people who used to go to the vendors to sell gear for credits and end up selling their gear pieces that they were using for the build that they were running, and they ended up accidentally selling pieces of that. I understand how frustrating that is. A couple times I almost broke a controller, angry because I didn't want to sell a certain gear piece that I ended up just tapping X too faster. Wasn't really paying attention and sold it. But now they have the buyback option in vendors where if you end up doing something like that, you can buy your pieces back. It's no longer lost. You're no longer shit out of luck. Weapon skins, they no longer take up inventory in your space. That's no longer a problem. Now it's just, I'm guessing, stuck to like mods, caches, and caches have their own inventory spot, but mods, gear, and guns. Skins no longer take that space up. But yeah, I believe that this game is on the path now, on the right path to becoming something better, something much more better. And I feel like if people would just give it a chance, and experiment a little. Don't just go for the linear cookie build. Like, don't just go for DPS is best. Don't rock just strictly the 4-piece sentry or or like strike. Well, I guess sentries or like the alpha bridges. It's not just that either. But just experiment. Try new things. This game could be so much more. It could be so much better for you if you just take the time to try and experiment a little. And run through certain things. Try the incursions, matchmake, and try to find people. Like, just give the game a chance, and it may surprise you. It may actually surprise you. I know some people don't agree with all the loot that's dropping. Like, some people think that is too much, and like maybe it is for some. Maybe for some people it really does feel like too much. But I believe it's perfect because with all that new gear that's coming, I have the ability to try so many new different things, and I have a better chance of getting the gear pieces I want. Like there's sometimes you get a gear piece you want, like an Alpha Bridge chest or a Sentry's gloves or anything like that, but it doesn't have the rolls you want on it. Say it has like pistol and marksman and something else crap you don't really need because you're trying for a certain type of build or to run it a certain way. Well, with all these new gear pieces that drop all the time, you have a much better chance of getting what you need for your build. And the stuff you don't need, well, you just sell. And you can also go to vendors because they sell 229 pieces now if you're in World Tier 4, and it's also really good stuff. You can buy caches that'll help you gear up faster. It's just, I feel like the game is much more better now. And as long as you're willing to try it out, I'm sorry for constantly rambling on the same subject, but if you're just willing to give it a try and experiment, this game could really be fun for you. And if you're looking for strictly just a PvP experience, right now you might not enjoy it because they haven't touched PvP, and it might not be fun for you the way it is right now. So I suggest that if you don't like the PvP, you don't like how your build does against other agents, or you don't like to be one shot, you don't like the shotgunners, then for now stay out of the dark zone. For now, just steer clear of it because you no longer need to go in the dark zone. You could level up outside the dark zone through incursions, through challenge missions, through HVTs, just through running around Manhattan and shooting enemies and getting field proficiency caches, or just killing NPCs that are dropping stuff. You don't have to run the dark zone to get the good gear. So just if the DZ and the PvP are a problem for you, just for now, stay away from it until they do fix it. And then it could be maybe a better experience for you with whatever they do. So, but yeah, that's just my opinions on patch 1.4. That's just what I think. I know I ended up repeating a lot of things, and there's so much more things I haven't touched on, that I just can't really go through right now. But yeah, guys, coming from Save-aBro, this game I still really enjoy it. I'm still trying to get people to come back to play it, and I hope you guys do give it a chance. If you like this video or you like my thoughts, leave a comment. Let me know what's up. And Wow, my bad, guys. My commentary cut off there at the end. I guess I was recording for too long. But if you liked the video, yeah, leave a comment, leave a like. Let me know what you guys think about it. Let me know if you don't agree, why you don't agree, and what your thoughts on it are. And if you have come back from letting this game go for a couple months, let me know what you think. And I hope you guys do enjoy it. So please come check out my other videos. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at UnwashBalls with a Z. And yeah, I hope to see you guys. I hope to hear about your opinions, and I hope you all are willing to give this game another shot and just to see where it could take you and to experiment, to try new things. But yeah, anyways, guys, enough with the rambling. Captain Save-aBro out. And if you want, stick around and just watch the rest of this incursion. And just see how I do. And if you don't stick around, oh well, thank you for watching to this point. I really appreciate it. Captain Save-aBro out.
You